The guys from feiyutech have just released their brand new SCORP Mini 3 Pro gimbal, and this one can be used with your action camera, with your smartphone, or even your big full-frame camera. It has a removable handle that can be used as a remote control, which is really useful. And the best thing is that it has AI tracking built right into the gimbal. So let's give it a look, shall we? Quality of the gimbal is quite solid and the ergonomics are just right, and you have this handle here which is, as I said, a remote, and you can use it for those sling down shots or for a more steady video recording. In the package you also get the tripod legs, which are very useful when you're balancing the gimbal out and when you're using the auto tune function to adjust the strength of each motor, because based on the camera that you have attached you need to set up the motor strengths in order to match the weight of the camera. And very importantly, as with every gimbal, you have to balance the gimbal out properly. And with this gimbal, it's really easy because each of the three axes has its own lock. Now, if you want to learn how I balance my gimbals, then watch this video over here where I explain it in detail. The gimbal has a whole bunch of functional buttons and this knob over here which can be used to either tilt the camera or to roll the camera or to pan the camera, or if you connect your gimbal to your camera with, let's say, a USB cable like I can do with my Sony camera, then I can use this knob to control my ISO or my shutter speed or my aperture. And this smooth knob gets a clicky function where you actually feel the knob clicking when you're going through different settings. So you get those discrete values in the knob. One of the best buttons on the gimbal is the F1 button right over here. You press it and, well, the gimbal starts tracking you, and it does a really cool job. Even if there's more faces in front of the gimbal, it will always pick up the face that is right in front of it. So it's really reliable. If you have other people in the frame, it's always going to be tracking you or standing right in front of the camera. So let's try this. And there we go, a full-on gimbal tracking on my Insta360 Ace Pro 2. So technically, I don't need a 360 camera anymore because, well, this guy's tracking me now. So cool. It does a really good job. I mean, I have to admit it. I was really blown away by how good the tracking is. And the really cool thing about this tracking is that you don't need to have any apps installed because the gimbal is not using your camera's feed for tracking. It has its own additional camera over here. So it doesn't matter if you have an action camera, a smartphone, or a full-frame camera, the tracking will always work with this teeny tiny camera over here. And there's a little light which shows red or green, green when it's tracking you, red when it's not tracking you, so you always have the feedback if the gimbal is tracking you. The front trigger button has its own typical functions. You press it twice to level out the gimbal, press it 3 times to turn the gimbal around into the selfie mode, or press it 4 times to rotate the gimbal around. So this way you have the motor on this side, and if I do it again, the gimbal reconfigurates and the motor is then on the back. So if you have a really wide angle camera in the front, this motor is not going to be an obstacle in front of it. So 4 times the click and the gimbal reconfigures, and it does like a little dance, which is very funny. Remote controller handle, there's a little LCD display which shows all of the functions of the gimbal, and there's a whole bunch of built-in functions like the panorama if you want to do a panorama photography shot, the follow mode where you can set different waypoints and tell the gimbal to go from one waypoint to the other waypoint in a certain amount of time. It's really useful for time lapses where the camera is rotating as the time lapse is rolling, so you can get some really creative shots with that as well. Now you can control the gimbal with your smartphone with the smartphone app. So, really cool. and it's really, really responsive. Quite amazing, actually. The battery life of the gimbal is said to be up to 15 hours. I haven't used it for that long, but I have to say for all the time that I've been using it, it still has the full battery, and I did spend quite a lot of hours working with the gimbal. So I can for sure say that it has a long durable battery, but officially it's stated that it goes up to 15 hours, which is ridiculously a lot for a gimbal. And that's it. So thank you feiyutech for sending the gimbal over. I really enjoyed using it, and if you guys want to try it out, use the link in the description and get 10% off. So thank you feiyutech for sending this, and well, yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you want to stay on the channel, watch this video, consider subscribing if you're new, hit the like button for the algorithm, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.